What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Offseason episode number 1 of the Big 12 Teambuilder Dynasty. But first, we have a huge bombshell to announce. You ready for it?
I'm ready.
Teambuilder merchandise.
No way.
No way.
Get out of here.
It's coming. It's here. We have a shop on teespring.com. Link is in the description below. Make sure you guys go check that out. I would assume that the prices are fairly fair and
I hope so.
even. So if you guys want to go check that out, please do so and let us know if you're going to be buying a Teambuilder merchandise unit.
Yeah, let us know which ones you guys have your eyes on and which ones you're going to get, which schools that you're going to rep. Okay, because we want to know.
Yeah. Charge up.
Who's liking what. I can imagine a few right now in my head, so that would not be a surprise.
I'm only going off of downloads for the teams. Ardmore, Denver Tech, ACU.
Probably.
Those are going to be the big ones,
Yeah.
right? I mean, unless you want to wear Gansu.
Oh, yeah.
You can have that on your t-shirt.
Hey.
But, yeah, so hats will be coming soon. All that sort of thing will be coming soon. Mostly Teespring just offers you fleece blankets, pillows, t-shirts, hoodies, that kind of deal. So
iPhone cases.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah.
Decals to put on the back of your car.
Right.
It's cool stuff. So big announcement there. Maybe even a bigger announcement. We're going to be taking on your recruit requests to get put into the game. Now, if you guys remember, we can only take 20. We can only take 20. So out of the hundreds of comments that you guys are going to leave, we can only make 20 of those players. Now, 4 of them have already been submitted after winning the side game contest that we have had over the course of the last couple months. So you guys know who you are. I've contacted you. So really, in reality, we're only taking 16 of the comment section recruits. So make sure you guys are posting your player name, the location, the position, top 3 attributes. We won't get into all the really nitty-gritty details unless you absolutely want them.
Minor backstory if you have one, and keep it limited to the format. You'll post the comment and pin it, and you guys will see the easy-to-read format, so just submit them in that way. Last year we had a moratorium on quarterbacks. That ban has been lifted. You guys may now enter quarterbacks again. We were trying to fill out some other positions on our teams, and everybody kind of had a quarterback, and now a little more room for flexibility there, so feel free to, quarterback's the most popular position. So
Yep.
Now the competition though is going to be fierce. Okay, so the problem is, so we can't really take everybody. That's just the way it's going to work. We try to keep it kind of at random. We don't play favorites, and there's a lot of guys that we wanted to do last time and we couldn't do.
Right.
So it's just kind of the way it goes.
Yep.
So don't take it personally if your guy doesn't make it.
Yeah,
Most of them won't, unfortunately.
You got to sift through hundreds of comments, and only 10% of them are going to make it. 200 comments, 10% are going to make it. All right, so what do you say we get started into the off-season video with record breakers?
All right, let's do it. So Amarillo, you see here, D.D. Dukes actually set the school record for passing touchdowns. He actually had a quietly efficient season for Amarillo. The offense was pretty good, but he's going to be leaving, but he's going to go out with that school record. It's a big deal there. Nathan Rowe had 84 receptions. He beats the previous record holder by 1 catch.
Back in 1965.
Oh, we're going back a ways.
That's back a ways.
Brian Street, passing touchdown record over the 2007 quarterback, Mystery Man. He had 27. Brian Street, passing yards in the season. We have Gunnar Rivers, career touchdown passes as a sophomore.
Holy mother of God.
So he is on track to do some very big things. And the obvious comparison for everybody's been Phillip Rivers. And I think it's a
fair comparison.
Gunnar Rivers' school season passing breaks his previous record from last season. And his passing yards beats the 1988 quarterback by about 200 yards there. Carson Jackson, career receiving touchdowns.
It's a lot.
He could have, if he had better chemistry with his last 2 quarterbacks, he could have had a lot more.
He might have had 50.
It could have been something in that neighborhood. Career receiving, 35-33. It's going to beat the same receiver there. So good career for Carson Jackson. We'll see him in the NFL, or the NIFL, as I call it.
The NIFL.
The NIFL. Marlon Swift, 91 receptions, for Midland State. Dexter Whiteside breaks C.J. Wicks' passing record. They really leaned on Whiteside down the stretch.
It was a double-edged sword for Midland State. They leaned on him quite a bit, but he also cost them quite a bit.
And that's going to be it. So now we are going to go into the coaching changes. Oh, my God.
He got fired.
Joe Barry.
He got fired. Dun 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 dun! Big news in the coaching carousel. Joe Barry has been let go.
That's tough. That's tough. And you always
we
wonder.
didn't even do this. We didn't even do this. This was CPU generated.
He was let go, and you always got to wonder how that's going to affect recruiting, because Amarillo was making a little bit of headway. They were still, behind the 8 ball relative to some of our better classes, but every time there's a coaching change, there's always some tumult in the recruiting sphere. So Amarillo is going to be on the lookout for a new coach.
Given the news about Joe Barry being bad news, take a look at this news for Alfred Johansson. After the big turnaround of the program of Broken Arrow, LSU is considering Johansson to be their guy. Target wins per year 11, after going 3 straight seasons of 5-7.
So Ed O has fallen off the face of the earth. LSU has not been to a bowl game in 3 years, and that cannot stand. So they want Johansson, and he is going to take it.
He's going to accept. And the reason, guys, he accepted this is I don't know how you could possibly not accept that job. Even though you're coming from Broken Arrow, it's a middle tier, it's a little bit above that middle tier school, and had a really good season. You got to take the job, man.
He was a mercenary. That's all there was to it, okay? He jumped ship at the first sign. Somebody waved some money in front of his face, and he bolted. So that's all there is to that.
It's up you and the money thing.
Yeah.
You're always talking about
that's
the
what
money.
happens. So now the interesting deal here is Uba now has an opening. And Corey Deloach and Allison Meadows definitely not going to Broken Arrow.
No, they're not going to take a step down.
Not going to happen. Okay, so Broken Arrow has hired Todd Orlando. He was the previous head coach at Iowa State. I know he's currently defensive coordinator at Texas, I believe. So he's a defensive-minded coach coming in here to coach the Wranglers. It's going to be an interesting fit. And now you're thinking Brian Street and all the
moving parts, all the changes, he's probably out.
Could be. Could very well be. Now we have Amarillo with their opening, and they want to talk to Brock Musselman. Now, Brock Musselman is in an interesting spot because Amarillo is traditionally an okay program. They're maybe slightly behind McAllen, but this would be a lateral move for Brock Musselman. But the question is, with all the pressure from the fans and from the boosters, Musselman needs a fresh start, right? Because the people at McAllen are upset with him. And you see coaches do this where they take a lateral move. Think of like Tommy Tuberville, who was the head coach at Texas Tech. And he just decides to go to Cincinnati out of nowhere, right? Now, why would he do that? It's because he knows the writing's on the wall. If he has one bad year at Texas Tech, he's fired. And now his name is Mud, and he's going to have difficulty finding another job. Whereas he has a suitor that actually wants him. So why not just take that, get a clean 4 years to work with, and see what happens?
And the offense might actually work out in Amarillo. Like, Musselman wasn't even that bad of a recruiter. Like, he was actually getting people into McAllen despite all of the losses that they were compiling. So at least there's not a lot of pressure right now with Amarillo, and he can sit there and he can build this team up again if he takes the job.
And you know the situation with McAllen. Okay, the players leaving that we're going to talk about. You got Carson Jackson. You got Jerome Pickens. You got A.O. Garrison might be out. You've got Terry Sims and Delgado and Barrett Love and Marlon Malloy. So this team has an empty cupboard, and he wants to get out. He will be heading to Amarillo. So Brock Musselman is going to take this gig. You see 25-14 record. He's 5-8 against the top 25, 2-1 in bowl games, 3-0 versus rivals. He beat Houston 3 times. Successful coach. You could argue he could be better. Amarillo is going to poach him from McAllen, and it might set off a little bit of some bad blood going on right now. But Musselman's going to sign the dotted line here.
So now that Musselman's gone from McAllen, Now McAllen has an opening. And now we have Stephen Cust and Tremaine Young being offered the job.
Which I don't think they're going to do it. Like, Stephen Cust is the kind of guy that should be coaching at a bigger, stronger program. But he's building up a loyal following. He's got immense support in the community. He's got a couple young kids. They're in the Grand Island school system up in Nebraska, and they got a nice home out there, and the wife's happy. And so he's not interested in going. So he's going to stay at Nebraska State, and Tremaine Young has a job that would have no appeal for him.
No, absolutely none. Absolutely none. He has players that he can work with and that he's familiar with. He's been in Ardmore's campus for years. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to move, like you were talking about, in a lateral manner to McAllen, who's losing a lot of players.
And this is kind of a hire that, the rumors actually turn out to be true. Leroy Jackson will take the head coaching job at McAllen. And you guys might not recognize this name, but Leroy Jackson was the offensive coordinator for the Denver Tech Rush the year they won the national title. So he spent the last 2 years as the head coach of Colorado, and he's been doing a great job there, really. I mean, we saw them play against Midland State in a bowl game. Kind of had a big surprise year, big turnaround year, and McAllen wants some of that Denver Tech mojo to rub off on them. And you think
Harkless Blair.
Yeah, and in the matchup, I mean, if they cross paths with Denver Tech, I mean, you're going to have Leroy Jackson, understudy for Allison Meadows. They're going to know each other. They're going to know what's going on. So it's a good hire, I think, for McAllen, right?
I would totally agree with that. I think what he sees in Harkless Blair, and we've even seen it when we're watching the gameplay of McAllen, we've even seen little bits and pieces of Harkless's game look a lot like Drakeen and Timmons' game. And, it's a name that always seems to pop up in this dynasty, but he was one of the greats. And I think he sees that type of potential in Harkless Blair. Be an interesting pairing for sure. So the Minnesota Golden Gophers had a job opening. And now Brad Rankin going to take a job. Yeah, Brad Rankin. So 5 years.
It's a good deal. ACU's going to have a hole now at defensive coordinator.
Well, pretty strange though, right? Minnesota's going to be running the air raid now.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough sell up there in the frigid tundra of the upper Midwest, but yeah, it could work. Rankin, I mean, think of the job he did with ACU's defense. They're top defense in the country the last 2 years almost.
I know, that defense was nasty.
Hey, look, Cal is looking at Buddy Monroe. So you got Buddy Monroe, age 64, out of Podunksville, Arkansas. He's going to go to Berkeley? I don't think so.
Yeah, apparently they want the Beverly Hillbillies.
I guess, but no, Buddy's happy. He's fine at Little Rock. He's staying put. Okay, don't worry about it. So Joe Barry, the former head coach at Amarillo, was fired in disgrace.
Yes.
And now he will latch on to the defending national champions, Florida State. He's going to take this job right here.
Is Joe Barry one of those guys that you look at and you see, hey, you kind of sucked at the head coaching gig, but now you're just kind of latching on to successful programs to try to bump your own name up? Or is he actually really good, and Florida State's head coach looked at him and said, you know what? Hey, I like what you had at Amarillo. You had some pretty good defense. You know how to scout defense.
Yeah.
Come on over here and let's work together.
Might be a little bit of both.
I think it's a little bit of both.
Yeah, Joe Barry's going to take this job, so good for him. So let's recap here. Brock Musselman, as we talked about, head coach there. Let's look and see if, some of the hires we don't have any control over, like the coordinators. PJ Fleck is going to be calling plays for Broken Arrow. This might be a pretty good fit for him, and he's a great recruiter, so maybe the recruiting for Broken Arrow is going to get even better right now.
Row the boat is now turned into throw the lasso?
Yeah, I like it. Okay.
Throw the lasso.
Now let's see what we got here. Oh yeah, Mark Stoops is now our defensive coordinator at Nebraska State. So we are starting to up
the cachet,
that prestige, yeah, and all that goes along with the Stoops name. So that's going to do it for the Big 12 right now. And
you need to stay.
You're going to be a first-round draft pick. You gonna win the Heisman.
Time for players leaving. Let's take a look at who's going to the draft, who's transferring, and who's deciding to stay.
Yeah, we have Lewis Morgan here, true freshman, and he wants to go play for SMU, or SMU, as I call him. And we could talk Joe Russell into coming back. I mean, that was kind of a rash decision, in my opinion. A co-starter, redshirt sophomore who does not have a full season under his belt wants to go play in the NFL. I like just looking out for him.
Just wants the money, man.
Well, just looking out for Joe Russell. It's definitely in his best decision to come back and play for this team. And then Ipke Zapanairal has been the starting left tackle for 3 years now. He's going to want to stay. And then Jimmy Ireland, a tight end. I saw him a few catches in his bowl game and down the stretch. I think he might play more of a factor this season for ACU. But it'll be good to see him come back. I don't think he's NFL ready yet either. And then we see here, I mean, this crew, these guys are legends at ACU. They couldn't bring home the trophy. But at least in our dynasty.
Yeah,
maybe they did as freshmen.
Yeah, maybe.
We don't know.
Maybe. But this is the crew. This is the OG crew for ACU, as you guys know it. And a lot of them are leaving, man. Connor Chandler, Todd Parker, Jody Sunday, Price Greer. It's a big loss for this football team.
Yeah, Vajic, Reed, you got Clayton. Charlie Taff is going to be gone, so they got to find a kicker to replace him. Matthew Kennedy.
He's going to go to the NFL draft.
Yeah, he's got a degree in, physical science, weight training thing. But,
kinesiology.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking of. But no, he's not going to be a weight trainer. He was going to try his hand at the NFL. He should be a top pick, first-round pick. He did miss the second half of his season, though, which is going to be tough for him. Cedric Granger's gone. Again, he's going to the NFL. He's a big deal. In the mock drafts, they're kind of liking him as a first round.
Cosmo Ferguson.
Tyler Kerp. You got Caleb Matthews. And that's going to be it. So, yeah, this is going to be a changing of the guard for ACU. The guys that are coming in are pretty good, too, and we'll go over that later, obviously.
Taking a look here at Amarillo. Matt Taylor is wanting to leave. So the new coach coming in, Brock Musselman, couldn't convince him to stay. He loved Joe Barry so much that he's going to leave to Kamloops. He wants to stay within the Big 12, but, it's quite a move for this guy, Matt Taylor from Canada. He goes to Amarillo, and now he's going to go up north a little further.
He was a big deal, and redshirting him was a difficult decision for Joe Barry to make. And I would be really broken up about this, except for the fact that he's going to CAMU. So it's good that he's going to stay in the conference. I don't want us to lose that kind of talent to some, American athletic team or whatever.
Yeah.
But, Brock Musselman was talking to him, and he said, hey, look, I love you. You're going to play in 9 games. And then he said, nope. He said, I want to play. You're lying to me. And then Brock Musselman said, okay, get lost. I hated you anyway. That's how these things go.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Play the politics game.
Isaiah Gamble, 95 overall. He's going to get drafted. And we'll look at the top players here. D.D. Dukes, I think, has a career in the CFL. He is a quintessential CFL quarterback.
If the AFL was still around, or the AAF, if it was still around, D.D. Dukes might fit there.
Yeah, he's looking to sign a deal with the I think the Saskatchewan Roughriders have his rights. We might see him up north. I'm just telling you, I think it's going to happen. Josh, he's going to try his hand at the NFL, but he's looking at like a 6th-round grade right now. But Josh Sutton, again, he's sort of a ladder, maybe a 7th-round type player. And then none of these guys, aren't going to get drafted, unfortunately. But, Amarillo should have some returning talent at least.
All right, so here's Ardmore's board. And if we sort by overall, you guys will notice here that we are losing a lot of talent. A lot of talent. I don't know how this next season is going to look for us, but the winning ways might be difficult in year number 4. Adrian McCool projected in the 1st. Oyatunda projected in the 1st. Jasper Hodges in number 2. Shook will be drafted. Dalton Beebe, Jeremy Guerrero, Landon Zavko, Roosevelt McKinley, McCorders, Tratnik. I can go on and on and on and on, guys. You guys have
Am Howe.
become well aware of this team, and
I think Braverman's gone too, right?
Braverman's gone as well. So there's a lot of losses, a lot of starters that are going to be lost on a lot of spots on the team. Defensive line, offensive line.
Fabio never even played.
He played.
Okay.
He was a nickel, like a dime
Yeah.
type of guy. He would get in there every now and then. But yeah, it's not looking to be a good year number 4.
We'll see, but yeah, you are losing the core of what made you guys a special program the last 3 years.
Yep.
All right, Broken Arrow here. There's one name that we do not see, and that is Brian Street.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
He seems like he's already made his decision that he wants to stay. That's what it seems like. He's not even on this board, but talking to media and trying to reach out to Brian Street, he has no comment at this time.
So he's going to wait until the very end of the period to declare. So we're going to find out, and we'll have that announcement in the next episode. But yeah, I would be interested to see what he is going to do. I mean, with the new coaching staff, you look at the talent here that they're losing. They got Satterwhite and Gatlin to stay, but I mean, you look at these guys. I mean, Chapman's gone. You got Nathan Rowe and Morris. You got some offensive linemen, Tremblay, McDuffie. You got Odong. You got Gore on the offensive line. Benefield, his security blanket is gone. But you got to totally revamp the wide receiving crew on this team. And it's going to be tough for Uba to repeat. So Brian Street, you got to ask, what's the upside of coming back?
New coach, new players. Yeah, I'd be asking myself that very same question. And you want to talk about losses? Take a look at Denver Tech and what they're losing.
Yeah, and now what's frightening too is that they have reinforcements coming up, so they're not without hope. But again, this was going to be the bittersweet season here. Year number 3. You got the guys that started the dynasty as mostly sophomores, redshirt sophomores, guys that have been with us for 3 years. Household names, just brand name players. So got Kate Subchansky, Glendale Bullocks, Nick McCullough, Dallas Summer, Kenny Brocious, Jameel Schmidt. He's been through a lot in these 3 years for Denver Tech. And Clark Outlaw, Isaac Larson making plays all over the field. You got DeLeon Sanders. Craig Shates was a monster. Losing a lot of offensive line talent. Scroggins was in the doghouse. But yeah, he was one of the Bridgeport boys, as we talked about. And Rondo Falk, leader on defense. Covington. Orlando Ferris with all the interceptions. So yeah, they're going to need a lot of guys to step up next year and take on these new leadership roles for this team.
Kansas A&M losing one of their top tight end targets from last season, John Ryan, to Arizona State. But no harm, no foul. They do have a lot of talent coming in this season and from last year too to make up for that loss. But I'm concerned. I'm a little concerned about Camu simply because they're losing a lot of talent here with Jake Fritz. They're losing their 2 corners, Calvin Henry and Barber. Offensive line with Bergstrom.
Big too.
Yeah, Halsey's big. Aguilera. Like, you guys can see the board here, right? I mean, really, Boggs is gone. This team really surrounded itself with a lot of playmaking players that helped them on both sides of the football field to get where they were, to finally get to a spot where they actually had some success last season.
Yeah.
And now you don't really know how this team's going to transfer over to year number 4 and how they're gonna do. It's a big question mark.
I mean, the strength for Camu this past season was depth at running back. You had 3 really good receivers that could make plays. You had big athletic defensive linemen, and you had a lot of cornerbacks that made plays when it counted. So like Simon Barber and Calvin Henry, I saw them make a lot of plays. You see Dontari Weeks make a ton of catches. Matt Moreau was probably the biggest beneficiary from this change in offensive style that they implemented this past season. And they still have Jace Freeman. I think they'll be fine. Like at running back, we know
Carter.
At running back they have guys like
Doug Flores,
who are coming up through the ranks. So Camu should be fine at running back. I'm more concerned about them on the defensive side of the ball.
Taking a look at Little Rock's players leaving here, it actually doesn't look too bad. I mean, yeah, they're losing Blake Thompson, the 6'9" freshman. He was 6'5". Like, he was going to be a pretty dang good player for them, and he's going to UL Monroe. Interesting.
He said he was homesick.
Jabari London is gone. Shamar McFadden, Gardner, Livingston, Sakis. But everybody else down there, it's not like they're losing a whole lot.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at the receiver situation is
Doesn't look
not
good.
great because they're losing McFadden, Puck, and St. John chipped in a little bit. He only really got action this past season. He was a senior. But, yeah, I'm looking at Little Rock.
Worse.
Definitely could be worse. They should have more returning talent, and they're coming off a 6-7 season, so they should look to improve in my estimation. But pretty quiet front on players leaving. Rhett Bollinger, by the way, has entered the transfer portal. So we got some interesting news there. And we'll see where he ends up. I mean, as a guy who's graduated, he's a grad transfer, so he does not have to sit out any years. This will be his last year of eligibility anyway. So he wants to play. We know he's got a big ego, and
Gunnar Rivers has a big ego too, and those two egos probably didn't mesh.
No, he got upstaged by Gunnar Rivers. Bollinger came into Little Rock. That was his job, and now he is entering the transfer portal. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. Okay, let's talk about this. You want to know why Brock Musselman left to take a quote-unquote downgrade?
I know why he left.
Yeah, because he underachieved at a place that is going to be as good as Amarillo will do next season. McAllen and Amarillo should be on even footing in their overall ratings, and the expectations that McAllen are higher, and they got bad blood. So yeah, you're going to take that job at Amarillo. You see Marlon Malloy, Carson Jackson, Benny Delgado, Braxton Terry, Sims, Vicente Galarza, Nelson Ledbetter, Barrett Love, Levi Fuentes, Rhett Tomlinson, Jeff Lockheed. And we got more. Stephen Wallace, Wilton Archer, Jerome Pickens, Bonaventura, and Trevor Gutierrez.
There was no reason why Brock Musselman could not have gotten it done with this football team.
No.
Whether it was just the group of players that didn't mesh with the coach, we're going to find out if Musselman was the reason that he held McAllen back. Or if he turns Amarillo around, then we're going to know that maybe it was the group of players at McAllen that didn't believe in him. But regardless of the situation, like you said, he knew that he was on the hot seat. He knew that with all the players leaving, with the talent that he had, that he couldn't get it done. He's probably not going to get it done with the lesser talent. He's probably on his way out, tarnish the name. Again, go to the team that doesn't have a lot of expectations.
Take
see if
the
you can
lateral
build.
move.
Exactly.
Get a fresh start. And
this is a big hit for the new incoming coach.
Yeah, Leroy. I think Leroy might make it work, but I mean, he's going to have to put his skills to the test to make this new look roster work for McAllen, because they got a ton of players, and we're going to see them in the pros next season. Here's a team that's going to get hit really hard. The good news is that Willie Grant, Kawika Lolatai, Ulysses Neely, and Dallas Wynn are all going to stay, and they're going to lose Michael Hopkins, which is disappointing. He's 72 as a true freshman. I mean, he's probably going to be a pretty solid player, but he's gone. Look at this crew here that's going to be going to the pros. You got Stokes King, Seidenstricker, Ziola Vargas, Swift, Ozugwu, Beauchamp, Mogul, Harper, Hobbs, Romine, Claudio Keller, and
It just doesn't stop, man.
Munoz, Emery Dandridge, Demetric Pence, Marquise Irby, Marty Wiedenheimer, one of the team captains on defense, Neil Ramsey, Frankie Wharton, Spurlock,
So the least rated player that's moving on, it was an 86 outside of the transfer.
Yep.
That is huge.
And their secondary is not looking great. We'll talk about that later. And if you watched our recruiting videos, you know that Midland has to rebuild their secondary in a big way, because Seidenstricker, Hobbs, and then the top three cornerbacks are gone. Tough. I mean, Midland, you might have to cut your expectations back next year a little bit.
This team is screwed.
Hey, look, it's everybody's favorite team, Nebraska State. Now, it's not too bad. Not too bad. Now, I mean, we're going to lose some fan favorites here, guys like Swan, Kadeem Williams, Anthony Yarborough. But, I mean, the really big problem is our offensive line. Like, Ruben Sensenbrenner is going to be, centers don't usually go that high, but, I mean, he's one of the top centers on the board in next year's draft. And these guys weren't great for me. I mean, Eustace, Lamanna, Valone, not amazing players, but they're adequate. They were adequate this past season when they had all the experience. Now we gotta raise the offensive line on the ground and build it from scratch.
That doesn't bode well for Shinosky.
No, and that's not where I want to be right now in year number 4. You know, I want to be on the upswing. We've been trending that way, but we're losing all these key factors, especially on defense with like Jameis Jordan and Dukwe and Williams. It's gonna be tough. What do you think here?
I think that it doesn't bode well for the program. It's just bad timing. I feel like a lot of this is what's happening with Nebraska State is just bad timing. You've got a mix of players that, helped move the needle for the program, but now that it's just starting to get really on the uptick, and then now they're all going to be leaving, and you didn't have a good recruiting class, so it's kind of like 2 steps backward. One step forward, 2 steps backward. You're kind of shuffling around, and you need a big. Somebody has to step up. In other words, somebody's got to step up. It's got to be Shinosky, LaBelle. Losing Swan and Yarbrough doesn't help either. Vivaldi's going to have to be the guy. He's going to have to be the guy. You're going to have to start to scheme, be a little more smart and strategic with the offense. Yeah, it's going to be. This year number 4 is going to be a big year for you.
Yeah, and the other news too is that Cameron Willis, by the way, has entered the transfer portal.
What?
Another quarterback.
Why is he leaving?
You guys are going to get to see him actually maybe find some more playing time at another location. So let us know, because you know how these rumors go. It's a really drawn out process. They're talking to coaching staffs and all that. So let us know who you guys think Bollinger and Willis might end up. I mean, they might not end up in the Big 12. There's no guarantee. I mean, there's teams all over the country that are looking for quarterbacks of that kind of caliber. So, but let us know who you guys want to see them play for, because I'm interested to find out what they're going to end up doing. Well, and you guys are going to get your wish, because Cameron Willis, I railroaded him. I will admit that wholeheartedly. I'm at fault. I'm a terrible person. I screwed him over. He lost his job on a technicality, and it wasn't his fault. I believed in him, but
you didn't believe in him. You believed in him, but you didn't believe in him.
Right. You're right.
God.
But his career might come full circle somewhere else, so we're going to be looking out for that next episode as well.
Yeah, and we'll have to cover what teams even need a quarterback. Right. What teams even need a quarterback? Because Ardmore doesn't.
True.
They have no business coming to Ardmore because we've got Stanfield and Hicks. But yeah, where are they going to go? I have no idea.
Well, just to state here, we have Logan Sweeney, Dedrick Carlton, and Chris Furstenberg headed to the NFL draft. And then we see some of the wide receivers here. Livingston is going to be gone. Rivera, Skinner, Sidney Sisk, and Brunner. So the wide receivers for Odessa, they got hit pretty hard with this. I think most of these guys will be in the NFL. I would assume probably Rivera and Livingston will be the 2 guys that make it in the pros.
I'm a big fan of Rivera.
Yeah, I mean, Skinner and Sisk are the kind of guys that get a practice squad invitation to the Detroit Lions, and they get some playing time in the third quarter of the second preseason game, and they get 3 catches for 27 yards, and then they get cut. Nobody knows, and they go.
One guy catches a touchdown, gets cut.
They crawl into a little hobbit hole somewhere in
Chase Billingsley,
and live out the rest of their lives, and you never hear from them again.
So. Look, good looking there, Sydney and Brock.
I wish you luck, Sidney Sisk. I'm just saying. Shreveport losing 1 player to the pros.
That will be Herschel Gates. Now, he's not taking his basketball skills to the next level, but he will be taking his football skills to the next level. At 6'6", 182, I feel like he looks like he's bigger than that, but hey, he's
probably way a little bit heavier.
Yeah,
at that height.
At 6'6", probably. But he's going to be a pretty solid player. Probably will go in that 3rd to 4th round type of range. Be interesting to see where he goes. But, for Shreveport, they're losing Clarence Tate, Roberto Allen. They do have some running backs in the pipeline, so they're not going to be hurting there.
Yeah, Cole Fleets
made some big plays.
He's a good receiver as well. I mean, they made out okay, though. Not a lot of losses. I think you might see this team rebound from the way they finished last year. But we'll see on that. That's going to do it for the players leaving. So thanks for sticking around. I hope you guys are happy about the news, happy about the merchandise, happy about
submitting your recruits.
Yep, and definitely leave those in the comments. As we'll reiterate, there's a lot of fun stuff to go over in this video. I was excited for it.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see where Bollinger and Willis decide to go for sure in the next episode. So guys, leave a like if you like this thing, and we'll see you guys in the next one. As always, peace.